Bienvenidos a la previa número 32 y hoy, David, te tengo que decir, what's up, David.
What's up? What's up, Pedro?
Primer episodio en inglés de la previa. Si ya no somos lo suficientemente amateur y matado en español, pues ya lo hacemos en inglés y ya cerramos el círculo completo.
Es impresionante lo que va a pasar ahora.
Tenemos nuestro jugador que entrevistamos ya, un jugador profesional competinian, pero hoy es otro perfil de jugador, entrevista en inglés y la verdad es que no queremos hacer esperar más a los seguidores que estén viendo hoy la previa, porque para nosotros es un placer hacer conexión con Japón.
Y para los seguidores del Granada, si les enseño este número y esta camiseta, ya deben saber quién es. Así
Así,
que
sin más
vamos a
preámbulo,
darle entrada a...
welcome to La Previa one day more, the first one in English, and we could not have a better guest than Thomas Bropleh. Welcome to La Previa, Thomas.
Thank you for having me. What up, man? I'm glad to be here and looking forward to the conversation, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
The pleasure is totally ours. So for those of you who doesn't know Thomas, I was confused because when we were researching a little bit, some places says that you are from New York area, others says that you are from Denver. Which one is the right one?
Yeah, I know. That's crazy, man. So I was born in Jamaica, Queens, New York.
Okay.
My mom came from Liberia in 1991 because of the Civil War in Liberia. So I was born in Jamaica, Queens, New York, and I was there as a toddler. And then I moved to Denver in the late 90s. 97, 96, something like that. And then I was in Denver. So I'm from Denver, but people think I was born in New York.
Okay.
So when you see that, people, whoever wrote that, just thought I was from. I said I'm from Denver, so they thought I was born in Denver. But I was born in New York, and I moved to Denver at a young age. So that's it with that. So both are true, I guess. I don't know.
So then that we know now the correct answer after spending some years in the University of Voice States University. We will go a little bit on that later. He moved to Europe, where he has been playing in Germany, Portugal, more recently Spain, to move to Japan in the last summer. So first question from our end, Thomas, is how is life treating you in Japan, and do you miss Granada?
Yeah, man. Obviamente, man. I miss Granada, obviamente. But Japan has been nice, man. It's been an adjustment. A lot more games here. The style of play so different. The foreign players. You have a lot more freedom, and they expect you to do more in all facets. To where Spain and obviously the ACB is more of a team game. Everybody's involved, on both sides. So that's been an adjustment. But the food here, increíble. Ramen, all that is amazing. So it's just a lot more games, a lot more basketball. So that adjustment has been hard when you play 34 games every year for your whole career. You get used to that pace. So the adjustment of playing two games every weekend hasn't been easy. So, but good level here, different, smaller players but faster. So, it's a lot different. But I'm enjoying it.
Well, then you prefer Japanese food than Spanish food.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot who just asked me this last week. Oh, that's a tough question. That's a very tough question because the Japanese food is nice. But I like the Spanish food too, I don't know. No lo sé.
I would say in
Well,
the middle. In the middle.
yes. Well, let's start from the beginning. How did you start playing basketball?
My brother, we had it was like a court in an apartment complex, in Aurora. Well, when we moved to Colorado, we was in Aurora, East Colfax, 15th and Moline, tough area. But my brother, he put the ball in my hand at a young age, and like, I remember a day where we were doing layups. And from that day, when we was just doing layups that whole day, from that moment, I knew I was gonna play basketball. So, I give all the credit to my brother for, installing that in me and the grind and working out every day and all that stuff. But it was from when I was like 7, I really had the idea that maybe I could play basketball one day and go far with it.
It's I we have offices. My company has offices in Denver, and so I know the area pretty well. Uh,
Hmm.
but I studied in Atlanta, so in Atlanta, and I know how the basketball is everywhere in the U.S. I didn't right now. Denver is champion of the NBA, and the team is traditionally has been a little bit more Broncos town than than NBA town. But right
Hmm.
now the team is doing amazing, and it's I guess the sport is as well growing a lot. I saw in the last years when I have been there a lot of more basketball like jersey stuff like that than even Broncos one. When Broncos Nation is definitely huge in the U.S.
Hmm.
Going into the next level, you're extremely active every summer in terms of being an alumni of Boise State University. Like I don't know if you directly drive the program during the summers where former players go there and it's a recognition. But for the people in Spain that don't know, maybe like what does it mean this university periods, the alma mater in the U.S. What does it mean for you those years in the university and coming back in the summer and returning a little bit to your alma mater?
Those years in college, man, those are really the foundation of like your life and your career and what you want to do, in life. So those 4 years, man, you learn so much about yourself. You're on your own for the first time. You get away from your parents. So you learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself. And obviously with the athletic side of it, it becomes like a family to a degree. So you just build that brotherhood, that friendship that lasts as lifetimes. So 2 years ago we did. I don't know if people in Spain know about the TBT. It's the basketball tournament. Every summer, there's like a 64 team NCAA style tournament, and teams can sign up, and you got to go through a process to get chosen to play in it. But winner takes all, $1 million. Whoever wins the tournament wins $1 million. They started this a decade ago, and a team overseas elite used to won it like the first 4 years. Kyle Hines, DJ Kennedy, Kyle Fogg, like a lot of good overseas players made a team and won the tournament at the beginning. And now it's shifted more into a college like alumni setting where you got Syracuse, Ohio State, Nevada, you got New Mexico, you got all the college teams, with alumni that are professional basketball players going back and doing like a thing for one week to get everybody back together and then potentially go play and potentially win $1 million. So we did that 2 years ago. It was good to be around the guys, man, after so much time. You get older, you don't do the same things you did in college. It's just the growth of life, and it was beautiful. And hopefully in the future, time willing, I could be a part of it again. But it's a tough process to get so many professional athletes together at a time in July when that is the off season for us, and being overseas, you don't have a lot of time in America with your family. So yeah, it's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Mhm. Well, in 2014, you were undrafted and you took the decision to move to Europe, where it's a very important decision and
Mhm.
very different countries and places and so on. How was that decision?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I didn't make a decision. I was just given the opportunity. In college, I had 2 years where I played good, and then 2 years where, I was having difficulty, adjusting to, just to college and play and, coaching and things of that nature. So I didn't have a really good college career. I averaged 5 points in my career in college. But I think my last 2 months of basketball at Boise State, that my senior year allowed me to get the confidence and know that I could play this game at a professional level. Um, but I didn't have like a great college career. I always knew I had the talent, but it's not just about talent. You gotta be a good teammate. Understand the politics of the game and whatnot. So. I didn't actually make it because of my college resume. What happened was I signed with an agent in Germany, Scores First agency, and he held a camp. Man, I forgot the dude's name. It's crazy. Garrett, I think Garrett, his name is Garrett. But he held a camp in Vegas, like a showcase during summer league. Scores First showcase. And I didn't have no job. I'm probably not going to play professional basketball. I go to that camp and you just play games. And you play 4 games. 3 of the 4 games, I had 20 points. I was an MVP of the game. And there was coaches there, but nobody really talked to me. So I'm leaving the last day where I played well. And a German coach, this young guy stops me. He said, "Hey, talk to me a little bit," and then said, "Yeah, just be on the lookout in a couple weeks. Maybe we'll have an offer for you or whatever." So for me, I'm thinking like at that point, like okay, whatever. But probably I'm gonna play in the G League or try out or whatever. And then August came, I didn't hear anything. And then the second week of August came, he sent the contract, and 3 days later, I was in Germany, Paderborn, Germany. So that's how it started, man. It wasn't like I knew I was going to play or whatever. It was just the luck of going to that showcase, playing well, and then having one coach at that whole showcase say, "Hey, I think you're a professional basketball player." That's how it started. And I went to Germany, Paderborn, in the second division, Pro A.
It's I went to a similar situation in my life. Like I study abroad, and then I thought like, okay, I'm coming back to Spain, and then out of a sudden you went in a trade show or whatever, you meet somebody who tells you, hey, you want to move in the middle of the mountains, in the middle of nowhere in Switzerland, and to
Exactly.
work, and then you didn't have that roadmap. You were thinking, okay, maybe I might go back home, and I must admit that. It was fun for you to play a couple of years ago in the university program, but for those in
Mhm.
Granada that we were waiting for you to come back for the first ACB season, it was a little bit scary to be that level of intensity over July.
Hey,
Yeah?
it's basketball, man. All these players is playing basketball throughout the season, man. It's a lifestyle. No reason to be worried.
So
But I get it.
one day you are in Denver, and one day you are in Northwest Germany. Uh, how at your first experience abroad, which is maybe you come to Andalusia a little bit more live, and so, but as a first experience moving to Germany, and we will not touch the league. We were talking the other day to Coach Arturo, who as well you
Mhm.
know from your years in Granada, and he
Yep.
had another
Yep.
experience in Germany. He was telling us
Yep.
like the league is a lot of international players, so it's not that like German player or whatever, but they're many international. But the life in Germany, oh my God, like the change, the living in Germany structure. How was for you landing your first experience in Germany?
Man, when you land for that first time in Europe and you see the language at the airport, man, it's the biggest shock. Like, that was just shocking to see the language and then to hear the language, and just go through the process of getting getting your place, your apartment. I never drove stick, like stick shift, like stick. So we go to the car dealership and they just give me a car. I have no idea how to drive stick. The clutch is going out. It takes me like an hour and a half to go 3 kilometers. It's just, it's like that. It's your first time abroad, overseas, in a new place, and you just got to figure it out, And obviously, you're there for basketball, so it's easier. But Germany was easier in the sense that a lot of the players spoke good English, so the transition on the court was not as tough with the language barrier. But yeah, it's a lot more Americanized, that game, up and down, one on one, things of that nature. So at that age, it was like the perfect place for me, and I played really well that year. We were a young team. We had a coach 30 years old. Um, good foreigners at the time. So it was a great first experience for me. And to start my career. But that year was wow. A lot of memories, a lot of memories. Uh, just the start of what could be. You never think that year could take you all the way to where you at now. But yeah.
And of course, Japanese and Spanish food are better than German
Yeah,
food.
yeah, yeah. Claro, claro, sin duda, sin duda, sin duda.
Well, after your career in Germany, you decide went back to US to try in the D League. Um, Again, how is that decision? How is playing in the league? Because I think at least we follow a lot the European basketball and also the
Hmm.
NBA.
Hmm.
I think they have a very different basketball style,
Yeah,
and you play several times in US and also in Europe. How is the difference, and how is playing the D League?
the D League is the D League's interesting because you got a lot of young guys, and then you got the NBA rules with the spacing, with the
It's a
far
very
3 point line.
competitive
Very
competition.
competitive. A lot of like everybody's an athlete. Maybe the IQ is not as high,
Mhm.
but everybody's an athlete. Like so after that year in Germany, I switched agents, just young, not understanding the process of being in Europe and, working your way up, step by step. So I switch agents. I get an agent that, he sees, he saw me working out with the Nuggets in the summers, and I used to do that every summer for like my first 5 years playing. Every summer I'll go work out with the Nuggets. So I signed with him, and I didn't sign. I didn't get the deals he thought I would get in Europe. So I went to the G League draft. It was the D League at that time. It was the D League at that time, and I did a couple tryouts. I went to Los Angeles and had a tryout with the Defenders. That coach Casey Owens, he's actually in Japan now. Um, so I did that, and I thought I was going to the LA team because that was where I did the tryout. And then I get drafted by the Dallas team, Nick Van Exel. Everybody knows who that is.
Yeah.
One of the best point guards. One of the best point guards in history. Get drafted by him, go down to Dallas. And at this time, when you're drafted, you're still not on the team, because the G League is it's a farmhouse for the NBA team. So there was like 7 spots guaranteed already on that team. Tua Holloway, Brandon Ashley, Jamil Wilson, Michael Eric. He played in Spain in Bilbao. Just players that are guaranteed. Torrey Murray, just players that are guaranteed spots. And So there was 20 players at training camp, and there's literally 3 spots available. So 13 players are getting cut, basically. And somehow, some way, just playing, just doing what I've done my whole life, in that moment, I think in tough moments, that's when I like shine like the best, like I think to a degree, thinking about it now. But, in that training camp, I make it, I remember Nick Van Exel telling us, you're one of the 10, and I made it, but that didn't mean nothing because the D League every day you're getting evaluated. There's players coming in and out. It's such a transactional league, so you don't play well for a couple months and it's gone, and that's what happens. So, but I made that team, and that was an amazing feat because I made it over players like Sharon Collins, that went to Kansas, national
Mm.
champion, players that have names, but that just lets you know that, at that time I was, I knew I could play this game. It's just finding my way and like, where am I going to play? How am I going to improve my career and that nature? But the G League was I was only there 3 months. I got cut January 1st. I went back home, and that's when that year I didn't play basketball. Like I didn't have a job that whole year. That's when that started because of the G League. So I didn't play there the whole year. I got cut because they traded for Manny Harris,
Mm.
uh, a player from Michigan. 28-point scorer in the G League. My job was over. At that point. So it just shows you the dark side of basketball, and this is a business, and you got to produce. And if you don't produce, somebody else will. And that's the name of the game.
I think that the D League, I have been checking it out for a while, and a colleague of mine, his brother-in-law was there for a while, and he called it like the Hunger Games. It's really difficult to understand the D League because when you are, even though if you are in the NBA and the NBA is really competitive. You see them in the trading. One day they call you to give you a call. Hey, you need to move to the other side of, and you're maybe in LA with your family, with your teacher, and you need to move to Minnesota, and you don't even have the clothing to do that. But at
Exactly.
the end, you
Exactly.
are you are trying to get into the playoffs or trying to win the division or whatever. But in the D League, they're like each player is his own team first. So there's a lot of isolation. It's hard to get your points. It's hard to get your minutes. And he was saying like even you out of sudden stop playing and you don't know why. And it's because in the NBA team, the player in your position is injured, and now they need to move somewhere else, and so it's brutal. And you were saying something that many people might not understand, but when you land into a new environment, like you are now in Japan, but many experience abroad, but when the first time you get into Germany, things like not even being able to drive affect you physically, and at the end you are an athlete, and if this affect you, then it will affect you in the court, and
Exactly.
and this will not be known by the fans, and I think that
Yeah. Yeah.
when many people say like, yeah, but how long does this player need to get used to this, and you're like, man, it's not easy, it's not like you are doing this repetitive job. You just move abroad, you're a foreigner, and just start doing your
Hmm.
stuff every day. You need to execute.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And like if my talent would have matched my resume at that time, it probably would have been easier. But since I didn't have the resume out of college, I had to take a route that's not normal. What I'm about to express is not a normal route to do what I've done. Like you know, like to be honest, a player averaged 5 points a game in college probably should not go and think that he is a professional basketball player. If we're
yeah.
being honest, right? So yeah, that year in the G League humbled me again. Like even when players came down, like Justin Anderson got drafted by the Dallas that year. When he didn't play for the Mavericks, he would come down and play. And literally, when he came down, I didn't play because we had the same position. He just he was in Breogán and just signed for Valencia.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when he came down from the Mavericks, I didn't play. So that was like 3, 4 games. So it's a tricky situation, and I didn't understand it. training with the Nuggets. You think you're good because you're doing well. Coach Malone is hyping you up. Like, yeah, T, I see you. Like, this is a head coach at the NBA. So you get a clouded idea of like, how this works, the politics. You got to do steps. You can't just show up one day and think you're this. So, but yeah, that G League was that was a crazy year. I also played with dang, he played for Real Madrid, big man.
Tavares? No.
Uh,
Poirier? Poirier? Tavares?
nah,
No.
he was skinny. He's like a dang, I forgot his name.
In
I
which
forgot his name. But
position?
if y'all look up that 2014, 2014, 2015, nah, 2015, 2016 D League, look up the Texas Legends. He played for the Mavericks. He was like,
Okay.
he's international.
Argentinian.
Ah,
Salamegri?
Yeah.
yeah. Murphy. Yeah.
Yes.
Him. Yeah, him. I played with him too.
Yes.
Good dude. He was trying to tell me about Europe and things of that nature, but obviously what he's telling me is like, I mean, I'm not. I mean, you play for Real Madrid, bro. Like,
it's
telling
a
me, like,
it's an easy one. So
yeah.
David
So yeah, for
David
sure.
might pretend that he's from Sevilla Granada, but he knows he's Real Madrid.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So,
Well, I
Exactly.
support both of them.
Yeah,
so now
right.
we come to my heart, as you can see here. We you
And of
go.
course, number three.
So
Te veo.
so we have here my first team in soccer, Betis. You went to Portugal, then Lugo, and then you land. This is an experience that I'm really interested. I'm shareholder, Betis shareholder. One, yes, I have a couple of shares, but it's a club, a soccer club that just happened to acquire the team in Seville. How is for you coming to Seville, an environment where it's Betis and Seville, soccer city? You are in the lab. You do one of the best seasons in the history of the competition to come into ACV. Your first, I don't know if your first encounter with Luis Costa as well. When you look at that team, it's like, oh man, what a great team. How was that year in a club that is mostly, because we recently interviewed Petinian. He's now
Hmm.
in France, and we asked him the same, like, how was being in such a soccer club that they just happened to have a basketball team, is the structure and so on. We want to know from you, like, what was the whole experience in Seville and in Betis?
It's just another level, with the football club and the resources and just the eyes on you, just what that logo brings. So that was a great year. I mean 30-4, 19 in a row. We had players that were competitive. Every day in practice was competitive. Like, Johnny and Tobias went at it every day. Luis and Donnie went at it every day. Like me and Pablo went at it every day. So it was very competitive in the practices, and I think that's why we did what we did. But the team, the city, the Betis, going to those games, going to the football games, you saw the significance it had there. Just a sports town, like all the Andalusian towns, just love sports, live and die by their teams. And obviously the dynamic of having Sevilla Club de Football as well added tension. Like we couldn't go to their games, I couldn't wear red, things of that nature. So it was a great year, man. Sevilla was a breath of fresh air because I went to France and I didn't really have a good season adapting to that league. You got four Americans. Um, Sevilla helped me after that year in France because that was a tough year in France. Just inconsistent, still trying to find my way and how I'm gonna play as a professional. So going to that team in Sevilla, having the success I did and the success we did as a team was, it was a year I'll never forget. Just so many memories. Just such a great time. My man, Luis Costa. And like Luis, having barbecues at his house, man. Just hand of God. So everybody, Mamadou Sam, Tunde, Obi. Matt Stanbrook, Reynolds, everybody on that team, made it what it was. So that was a great year. I'll never forget it. And that city, Sevilla, beautiful city, amazing fans, amazing people. Just nothing but good things to say about Sevilla for sure.
Yeah, my cousins are Sevilla supporters, and they love basketball. And they told me like after Betis acquired the team, for them was like they really struggled to the point that the team lost a lot of supporters. Yes, because of the
Hmm.
emotional side of things.
Yeah, yeah. I used to like the yeah the club, the basketball Sevilla used to have fans on the other side
Yeah.
chanting against us. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, yeah, it's a yeah. That was a tough situation as far as like the behind the basketball and all that. But I mean, the basketball in that year, wow, that was an unbelievable year. Unbelievable year. The Copa against Bilbao, wow, incredible. Play in front of that many fans like that on that stage, it's a great year, great year.
And
Coach Kudo as well, you know,
and
everybody, everybody.
did you like La Feria in Seville?
Yeah, La Feria, man. Qué nivel, qué nivel, qué nivel. Wow, diferente. Yeah, it was very nice, man. La Feria, all the things, the cultural aspects of Spain and just the lifestyle in Spain is amazing. That's that's probably the thing I miss the most about Spain. Being there the last 5 years and getting used to the lifestyle. You know, but yeah, La Feria was very nice.
Well, after Seville and some ferias, you were to you were to Palma, and after that you arrived to here to Granada. There were a very young project, but really in Granada we have a lot of basketball tradition. We have a long ACB history with a very important team 15 years ago, more or less, Pedro.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes,
with the seven.
with very important players like Curtis Borchard or Hendricks and so on. How was your arrived to Granada?
Yeah, man, that was after came to Granada after Palma. Obviously, at the end of Betis, I had the patella tendonitis that just would not get better, so I had to have surgery and had that surgery done. And then that year in Palma, um, just a tough year, just trying to recover from that injury. A big surgery, and didn't miss the game. But obviously, I was just not, it was, I needed longer to recover, but I fought through it. I tried to be there for my team and stuff like that. But, we just didn't have the same luck as the Sevilla team in a sense, same type of deal, great players, 1 through 12. It just didn't work out the same in Palma. And obviously, that's when COVID hit. So, I think having the year I had in Palma, and not really having, like okay, Sevilla is a step. Now I'm going to Palma. That's another step up. Not being able to take that next step, and trying probably staying at that level. Granada was the perfect spot because Granada had a bad year, that COVID year as well.
Mm.
Um, so then I get to Granada. Obviously, it's the COVID year. Just to see Luis, you know what I'm saying, my man. It was good to see a familiar face, and I knew like me and him, we just always had like a connection on the court. So, and obviously what Pablo like said, he wanted me to, get my level back, basically was his words, return to be who you are, like who you are, who you showed in Betis. So that was a good, he was a good motivating factor to come to Granada, and we came there. Bamba Fall obviously helped me in that decision to go there. MVP of the Leb, the year before, unbelievable. Had a good team, Alex Murphy as well. It was a good constructed
Mhm.
team that, I thought that yeah, we can definitely do something in Leb,
Mhm.
and that was a tough year though. It wasn't all roses at the beginning.
Yeah.
But we were, winning, losing a few, but winning. And,
Mhm.
the game I'll never forget that game was going back to Palma. Uh, it was a game we needed because I think that was one of the last games of that group because, at that
Yeah.
year we had two, the East and the West or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know how they said it. But that was the game, that Palma team was started bad, but then they played well. They played incredible. Wow. Jacobo, Ronnie, Kulamai, they had a lot of good players. So that was a big game, and I remember that game because that was the point where we made it to the playoff stage of the
Mhm.
second group, like the second round of the playoff stage to move up the top teams were gonna fight for the playoffs. That was a game that I will remember because it was intense. It was a young team. We somehow found a way and won. So, but that was a great year, man. Winning it, like in Oviedo that game, and watching it, watching Castellón and Coruña play
Yeah.
on the phones, and just having that moment. Obviously, we would be in the ACB if it wasn't COVID year, but uh,
That was a
back to
game.
back, only club in Lev to win back to back regular season championships. Only club in
And it was a
Lev.
pity. It was really a pity. I just wanted to touch on something you said before about injuries and going through. If I think that for us there was a game which I will have never thought that we will have gone to the final was the first game against La Coruña in semifinal, where you were injured and despite being injured you remain player. That for the fans like us we were like, what are we doing? Like the game is we never had that feeling in that first game. Sit Thomas, so we can go because that year it
Mhm.
was brutal for you guys. I mean, you were taking the bus, driving with the bus to the other side of Spain, then coming back
Woo,
again, then going back
Mhm.
again,
woo,
and then it was Breogan.
woo.
It was like crazy and. How it was like I remember having some guys come in the game after and they were telling us like, man, Thomas killed us there. Like we thought like, okay, it's done, he's injured after the first game, we are over, we are going to the final, but you go there, you manage to win again, come back, easy win. For us, it was like a roller coaster because we thought, okay, we are over. Then you win there. Then you win easily back in La Coruña. First game against Breogán, it was like so easy to win. You have the 3 points to tie the game, but Juiz has the 3 point to tie the game in Breogán. Then the last game, which was like heartbreaking for all of us, but it was clear foundation. How was that those last 2 weeks of the season and with all the bonding and everything that it had to be crazy.
Yeah, those last 2 weeks, man. Whew, it was obviously, just playing well and getting that first seed. We, that joy, and then to play a Murcia team at that time that had to win at Orense to make the playoffs. It was just, it was like, okay, like this Murcia team is not going to be easy, and those 3 games were fought very hard, like that game in Granada with Martin, the point guard,
Yeah,
was
number
just he
10.
was unbelievable, unbelievable, and somehow we won. I remember, at the end, I couldn't catch the ball, but I don't know what happened. But Luis got free throws. I think they fouled. We were down two. Luis fouled. Won the overtime. Alex made some big shots. Luis made some big shots. But yeah, that moment, I was like, man, I could have lost this game for us. So I was very distraught and like I was very upset at myself. So um I made sure that like if we had another opportunity, I would be there in any moment, any tough moment. I just remember my past and my resiliency and all those tough moments, and to not fold in those moments. And then we play Coruña, lose the first game. Just lose at home the first game, and everybody's thinking, man, we got to drive 13 hours to Coruña. We're not gonna win this game. Like no one's thinking like we're gonna win. Like nobody is, But obviously, we're professional athletes. You got to study the game plan, follow the game plan. Like that whole bus is going up there to win. So just you got to just change your mentality. It's one game, anything can happen. And at the beginning of that game, I went up for a rebound and Malminas like hit me a little bit, and I came down and like my meniscus like just like I don't know, it just felt weird, it just didn't feel right. So I had to go out at the beginning of the game, and I didn't know if I was gonna play, and I'm like I'm screaming and I'm upset. I know the moment, I know this is like to go to the ACB, this is not. This is you don't have those opportunities a lot in Leb, to be on a team that goes up, things of that nature. So I knew the severity of the moment, and I took some pain pills. Cuello gave me some pain pills, and then I went back in the game, and man, I don't know how, but like man, 25, I played well. Borto played well. Borto made some big shots, boy. Capitan, he made some big shots. And Luis played well. Herman, Davi, everybody, Murph. We just had a great team win, So obviously having to drive back 13 hours, my knee is swollen. I'm not playing this last game. But I remember going to the office and talking to Pablo and Oscar and them telling me like, look, we know you're hurt. We want you to come back next year. So you don't have to play this last game. We want you to come back. We want you to understand that, we have the confidence and we want to offer you a contract. So you come back next year, regardless of if we lose or win this game. And so that was like, wow, that was a good moment. It just shows the family that they are and the people that they are, to take care of a player that, played well for them during the year and obviously had an injury at a wrong time. But, it just shows that they take care of, they took care of me at that moment. But I knew I was going to play. I was going to fight through. I have a high level of pain threshold, so I was going to play regardless. Play that last game. Obviously, we win. Monaghan with that last shot to win it. It's like the fate of Granada in that one shot. The moment was just incredible. So we win the game, and then we gotta go. We play Breogán at home, and win the first game, obviously. Amazing game. Just, that last 2 minutes of the first half was incredible. You at least got a couple steals. The crowd, the crowd is 6 feet apart. It's like 2,000 people in there, but it felt like that last game against Juventus. So loud. Last year it was so loud. I remember how loud it was because, that was COVID year when nobody was in the fans. So having 2,000 fans in there, it sounded like, it was unbelievable. So,
we were there.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously driving up to Breogán, that was a tough team. They win that game, and then just our situation that last game, and not going in there fully healthy that last game sucked. Yeah. But it was tough. It was a tough situation.
Well, we were talking about that season, that final season, with the match against Breogán. But the next year, we were the pleasure to enjoy an amazing season going to ACB. We remember especially the game against Estudiantes in Madrid after La Copa. And and all the team, everyone in that team, everything always he thinks and he said they say that was an amazing team and a special team. Do you think the same? What is you remember about that team?
Yeah, I remember a lot. That year, obviously losing to Gone like that and knowing I was going back, it was just that last game against Gone that year, it was just like, you know, that just always stayed with me. So I took that as motivation, got my knee right that summer. Actually took a break, just rested, got healthy, and came back that year. Obviously, we signed Pedro Tomas. Unbelievable signing. What an
Mhm.
unbelievable player to have in Leb at that time, in that moment. Um, started off well, playing, winning games in that nature, and then we get to play Estudiantes in December, and we beat them at home. That was a good win, just to solidify that we were one of the teams that could do it, that could compete for the at the end, and then obviously to go through the season and make the Copa, and then the Copa is postponed because of COVID, just it was it was a crazy year, but then obviously you get to that moment, you get to the Copa, and I think for us being down, how we came out the gate was just like anxious, never being in that moment. And obviously they have players, that have been in that moment, have been on that court. But we came back, her mom played well, Luis obviously played well, came back in that game and lost at the end. But you know, having the main game next week, I think helped us to a degree.
Yeah,
Because I think if we would have won the Copa that next week, it's human nature. Maybe you relax a
yeah,
little bit. So I think that actually benefited us to lose in that way at the end. Like it was right at the end with free throws, and that can go one way or another. Free throws are, I don't care what your percentage is, free throws are tough.
yeah.
In that moment.
Psychology.
So losing that game sucked. But I remember Petit was right next to me, and I was telling him, like, yo, we're gonna be right back here next week. Like, and that's the game that we need to win. So, we go back to Granada, and we get ready for that game, and Pablo has his motivational talk, like, what team do we want to be, like, do you want to be a champion, or do you want to be a team that's never remembered? I remember when he brought that up before practice one day, on the board talking about teams, historic teams, it's like you got to win to be remembered. Like, what are y'all gonna do? So, Pablo's a great motivator in that aspect, and obviously, we go back there, tough game. I think we're down 7, 8 points in the third quarter. Keep clawing away at it. And then late in the fourth quarter, I make a three, then Luis makes a three, and then now we're leading the game somehow. And at the end, I remember up one, like maybe a minute and a half left. I had Beidon. Everybody was talking about Javier Beidon, great player.
World champion.
You know, yeah, world champion. Man, we heard it all year. Campeón del mundo. I was so tired of it because, yeah, obviously he's the campeón del mundo, but everybody want to say it like, okay. But yeah, had my moment. Scored that. We went up three, and we won that game. But winning that game, it felt like a championship. It truly did. It truly did feel like a championship because that Estudiantes team was good, man. They were, they start losing games because Leb is difficult. It's different from the ACB. It's different. it's just different. You take, I don't know if they went on buses or not, but the bus trips are long. Mentally you got to really be there. So it's different, but man, to beat that team in that moment after losing to them last week, it felt like a championship, and then we lose the next game against Gabuskwa at home.
That
It's
was
like what
that
going,
was. I must
you
say,
know?
I must say, Thomas, I've been going with my father to the Palacio for since I'm a little boy, and that game in December against Estudiantes when I left the Palacio. I was talking to my friends as well that we used to go to the former CB Granada and so on. And I said, this is the first time I had that feeling. Even the year before in the games against Breogán or whatever, I never got that feeling with the opposite fans coming to the Palacio, the team really, the level of intensity, everything in that December game was the first time that I felt like we are back. We are back. We are back to be a premium team. We will go to ACB or not, that feeling, that having like that solid team. But if there are three moments, like I think like it was emotional roller coaster of your weeks in Spain. I remember halftime against Zaragoza in the second quarter. We were all thinking, okay, we are going to lab. The feeling in the Palacio was, okay, we are going to lab. The Zaragoza is killing us. I remember going down for a hot dog. I never eat, but I was so relaxed. Like, okay, we are done. Going to lab. Then somehow you pull it off. You go to Seville, and you yourself and Luis, you didn't get the opportunity to play in Seville after going to ACB. You go there. Betis, which is my team again for soccer, didn't give us tickets to the Granada supporter.
Unbelievable.
Like unbelievable and unprecedented in the context of basketball in Spain. But that game of your game and Thomason, it was like insane. And then the last game against Juventud. You have played abroad. You have played in many places. Have you ever been in a stadium where they are broadcasting the other team's game in the scoreboard? How was those 3 weeks and the final moment against Juventud?
Those 3 weeks, wow, those 3 weeks they were intense, man. I would just say the intensity of that moment, to stay in the ACB and understand what that means, and the previous year to win and go up, and to understand what that meant, that game against Almanza, to really do it and get it done in front of the fans, you know. And obviously the ACB year, I don't know if you want to talk about that, but it's a tough year. We
Mm.
started out with injuries. Obviously, if Cristiano Felicio is on that team, it's a whole nother story. He's just a player that, makes everybody's life job easier. And I was someone that benefited a lot from having Cristiano on the floor. So, just a tough, tough year. Just losing is just, I don't care if we're in the ACB, like you're a loser. You're just losing. Like it's not all good just because you're playing in the ACB, So it was very tough. And obviously, if you remember before the game, Betis was losing to Girona
Yeah, we were
by
outside. We were outside
yeah,
watching
just
it in our
losing,
phone.
and then they win.
Montero got
Yeah,
crazy.
Montero, el problem. Yeah. They win somehow, and I wasn't like focused on the game. I'm trying to prepare, I'm trying to do my thing, but other players were watching to see what. And I remember going out to the game knowing that Betis won. Like it was like wow. Like I think that kind of like hurt us at the beginning of the game. I think
Yeah.
as a collective unit we weren't there. But I don't know what happened like we just start playing hard. I remember that was like the first game I started to go to the rebound like I did when I was like 24. Like man, I'm gonna just play hard this game. I'm not gonna focus about scoring or any. I'm gonna just play hard, you know. And Caicedo helped in that second quarter to get us back with his
Mhm.
intensity. So, it was like a 4 point game at halftime, I think, two or
Yeah.
four, I don't know. And then we just win the game somehow, and obviously having Joe Thomason, he brought an energy to us those last 4 weeks that we didn't have. Like, it was like a belief with another player. We always needed like one more player, like that could help us. So having him come at that moment, you start to believe a little more that you can win. Even losing in Obrador the week before, like, in those moments. And Joe played well. We win against Zaragoza, but even when you win and Betis won, it was a tough situation. It's like, man, it's like, man, this is like how are we, obviously you got to win the game in Betis, and obviously they beat us by 10 at home in December,
Yeah.
before, so we had to win by 11. So all this, and you're preparing, obviously to go win, and obviously for me, Petit and Luis, it was a special game, and to see the Granada fans there was, all the Granada fans that came, that made the trip to go to the game, and just to see the place packed, to see all the familiar faces on the Betis side. It's a tricky situation because I'm Granada, through and through now. So it's like I gotta go. It's like, man, I gotta basically beat a team that I had like a record year with.
Mm.
It's a tough situation, and it's Sevilla is a city, and the people there in that organization are people that I love, still talk to this day. So it was a tricky situation, but when the game started, man, it was what it was. So obviously, that game was intense. Boy. That game was so intense. We started off pretty well. We stayed in the game. I think they had a little euphoria from the Girona game. So it stayed pretty equal, man. They had a great team. Montero, Perez, they had a lot of players, that could play and do well. But we were down. I think we were down 9 in the third quarter, and it starts to look bleak. It's like, damn, we're down 9, and we got to win by.
11.
You think you win by 11. You got to win by 11 points. You got to win by 11 because next week we playing Juventud, which is trying to get a better position in the playoffs. Every game in the ACB is so important. So it's like, we're down 9, and to end that third quarter, we go on a run. I make a couple threes. And the game is tied at the end of the third quarter, and then from that moment, obviously I make a couple shots. Peta makes a backdoor, and then obviously at the end, Joe just,
Unrubble.
just takes over. I saw Joe just doing what he does, just, that lifeline that player that we didn't have in those moments to take those type of shots because, like, me taking those shots, I'm not as quick as Joe, it's, at that level, it's a lot tougher for me to get space. So, Joe, man, Joe was tremendous that game. We win. Luke May was great.
Yeah.
Alex, just all of us. It was a team effort. And I don't know how much we won by, but I think it was
Five.
9
It's a
or
little bit less.
yeah,
I
or
would say
8.
7 or something like. There was a
Yeah,
moment.
something like that.
There was a moment that I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah,
psychologically, you came at 9 too early. I mean, it was like
yeah,
missing
yeah,
two
yeah.
minutes.
So yeah, we had a great opportunity to win by 11.
Yeah.
And Betis realized that they added some more pressure and stuff like that. So we win the game. We're great. And you just thinking like we gotta win the last game. So it's to play Juventud, a team of that historical nature. They have a great team. They're coming to the Palacio.
Yes.
It's like one more chance.
Mm.
One more
That
chance.
that was amazing. I remember perfectly when we were in the Palacio, we were winning Juventud. We were following the score of the Betis match. Betis was winning to Real Madrid, and suddenly screens change. We start to watching the screen a 3 point from of William Goss, and
William
after
Goss.
that
Yeah. Oh,
a block in the last second, and we were completely crazy in that moment. That
yeah.
was amazing in the
Uh-huh.
Palacio. Where after Granada, you did a big change. In fact, this year I'm gonna get married and I'm preparing our honeymoon. We are going to go to
Yeah,
Japan.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
But I think that it's not the same go to Japan for 3 weeks for touring that I take the decision to move to
Right,
Japan.
right, right, right.
I think it's a very different country in the culture is very different. How is going the experience there in personally and in the basketball you have a very good season this year. How is the life there and the basketball there?
It's good. Like I said, you know, obviously after having that year in the ACB, wanted to stay in the ACB and, but life happens and you got to take the best decision for you. And this offer, was a great offer for me to, continue to, go through my career and just, do the best I can. But obviously, living in Spain was tough. I've been there 5 years, just built everything there in my career. Those are the 5 most important years of my career. A lot of ups in Betis, a lot of downs in Palma. But just grew as a player. And obviously Granada, leaving Granada was difficult, but arriving here, a new culture, new breath of fresh air, it's a lot different game. The game is a lot different. All the Japanese players are very fast, so you have, like with the ACB, I think the biggest transition for me from Leb was the size. So like with the size, you wouldn't have as much space, like
Mhm.
spaces closed up in ACB faster than they did in Leboro. To where here is obviously the players are smaller. Besides the foreigners, the bigs are amazing bigs, but the players are a lot quicker. So it's like the same type of thing. These spots and on the courts closed up because of speed instead of size. So it's a lot different game. It's just these past 3 years I've been playing three different styles, and it's been an adjustment in that sense. But I'm enjoying it. We started off the season pretty well. First year team in this second division, in B2, a
Mhm.
good league, a lot of good players, a lot of good national players and foreign players. Um, and just going through it. The coaches here, Argentinian, so I do speak Spanish to them, keeping up with my game. Obviously, it's dropped un poco. I'm bajado un poco, pero I'm still speaking the Spanish, and it's been good, the food, just playing more games, less practices, that's been great, and just to, just experience another culture and just, another way of doing things. Life has been, I'm so grateful to have played in so many different countries and to see how people live different ways and make it work. I think that's the most important thing I've learned in my career is just, there's a lot of ways to do life, like, I'm enjoying it here.
Yeah.
We got 30 more games left. We already played 30 games. We got
Like
30 more left. Yeah,
it's like
like it's
crazy.
been, it's like a breath. It's like you gotta take a deep breath. It's been a grind. It's been a grind, but I'm looking forward to playing and finishing the year strong, and hopefully staying here a few years because it's a great league and it's growing. It's really growing, and it's a lot of talent out here. They just had their first World Cup win.
Yeah.
So, it's the basketball is growing here and it's serious. They take care of you, top to bottom, treatment, you know, they just take care of you. Like your house is on point from day one. The Japanese people take care of it, that everything's like on point. So I love that about it. So
I
looking
think
forward.
I think
No, and in Spain they say mañana mejor. It's like the complete opposite from mañana mejor. So,
yeah,
different lifestyles, but
you change
I'm loving it. Loving it.
you change the tapas bar for the izakaya,
Yeah,
and now it's.
exactly.
I think
Exactly.
they have a similar scope that Spain had. I mean, in the sense that they have Hasimuya, the player who is playing in Lakers, similar
Hmm.
figure to the one that we have with Pau Gasol, big
Hmm.
figure playing in the greatest place. I think that helped them a lot to grow the
Hmm.
sport. I
Hmm.
wanted to comment something with you. So we interviewed Coach Arturo a couple of weeks ago,
Hmm.
and we asked him like, who's the player with the highest IQ that understand better the game, who is able to see through the game and so on. And he mentioned Thomas, and I was like, we were like, whoa, nice. He said like he understands really well the game, the momentum of the game. And when we were talking to Pablo one day, we met him. We were watching American football in our phone, and he saw us in
Hmm.
a bar, and he'd start talking to us, and we asked him like, what's the player that you see more talented, more like you give that last ball, and he said as well, he said Thomas. I was like, so
Yeah.
we will see you once with the suit in the sideline of Granada as a coach. How do you envision the day after basketball? Do you see yourself? Because it's hard because they mention you and Renfro. Like these are the two
Mhm.
players that I would see them as having this IQ, this emotional intelligence to understand fighting through and all of that. Do you see yourself back in the Palacio as the replacement of Pablo Pin, or where do you see your career moving after basketball?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I hope to play. I got a lot left. So not thinking about that far. But yeah, obviously, man, basketball is my life. It's brought me this far. I love the game. I love all of it. I like watching games. I watch Leboro games. I watch ACB games. I watch French basketball. I watch it all. All my friends I've gathered throughout the year. So I've continued to watch these games, as my careers went on. So I think coaching could be a possibility, but I like more like a GM role, like behind the scenes,
Mhm.
because the coach, the coaching that's that stress, that's that high level stress.
Mhm.
Like, it's I don't want my hair to go gray fast, So coaching might not be what's best. But maybe I'll coach too because like Arturo said, I love like IQ. I love like going through different systems, trying to find the best sets for players. Like trying to get the most out of your players. I think that is very vital in coaching. And obviously, anytime I talked about like anything tactical with them, it was for the team. So. I would love to be in some capacity in basketball, probably a GM role, administration role, something like that, to where I could still be around the practice day to day and, give my 2 cents. But coaching, head coach on that sideline in the Palacio, who that is the black suit, that who.
Fitting the shoes of Pablo will be hard.
Yeah, no,
I
I
don't
don't know.
want
Pablo's a god out there in Granada, man. This
I
dude
don't want to
went, 11 seasons.
I don't want to be in the
From the
shoes
fifth
of the guy.
division all the way up to the first division. That dude, I don't know how anyone says anything bad about him, to be
No,
honest. You can
despite
win and you can lose, but
yeah,
man, I mean,
despite
what that
how this
learned,
ends, despite how Pablo might end, which I personally don't care, I don't want to be in the shoes of the next guy. that,
yeah,
next
exactly,
guy,
exactly,
that next guy is gonna struggle definitely. Like how he is facing the press, the respect that he's getting from the press, the respect that he's getting from
yeah.
everybody at the Palacio, and
Yeah,
we.
he, he's homegrown. He's from Granada, man. Anyone that could feel how he felt those past 3 years, getting that objective, that game in Almanza, Pablo, that the whole club is family, man. We went through everything. We went through everything together, man. They were there. Everybody goes through tough times in life. Pablo went through one with his father.
Mm,
But it was always family. We was always together, and we played for him. He showed up for us the next game, man. Pablo loves Granada, man, and I mean he's from there,
Mhm.
So it's I don't know if anyone says something bad about him. He's a great person. Has a beautiful family, and he loves basketball. And he's a great motivator. So all good things to say about Pablo and all that for sure.
Well, as supporter, we are Pablo Pin soldiers. So let's go. Well, to finish, we have two short questions
Mhm.
about other players. We would like to know who is for you the best player or the favorite player you played with, and who is the hardest defender you have played against.
Like the best player I played with, ooh, the best player I played with. I
Hmm.
mean, what excluding like Felicio
Excluding. Oh, Felicio can
because he
be.
only played 10 years. He put 10 games, 10 games, the whole season.
Ten games.
I'll give you a few. I'll give you a few. I mean, because Felicio, man, that dude, man, just like his status and everything. Just every game, going into the game with him, you believe you can win. And when he went down, it was just devastating. Because we had a lot of level players, so we knew it was gonna be tough without him. But Felicio, I would say Matt Stanbrook.
Okay.
That's a guy y'all know. Super IQ, super intelligent. Um, I played with in the G League. I played with I don't know if you know Two Holloway. Went to
True.
Xavier point guard.
Yeah.
Two Holloway, New
Mhm.
York point
Yeah.
guard. He's one of the best guards I ever seen. Like playing with as on the team. Um, yeah. I mean, there's a lot, man. I can't just choose one.
And the
I would,
defender
I would,
side.
yeah, defender, man. I don't know. I don't really know, man. I don't think nobody could guard me, but I would say, man, it's tough defenders, man. Like last year, I'll probably say the toughest defender last year was Elgin Cook from Tenerife, man. Like same body, same size. That dude was strong. He was tough to play against. In the ACB, I would say Robert Seda from Bilbao was also a great defender, and tough to play against. And then in Leb, I would probably say in Leb those years, I'll probably say two players. Bellamene, just because of his activity, how his long arms, and he just not gonna tire. He's just always gonna get that effort. And then a player that just went up to the ACB, Chimi Ortega.
Yeah.
I was playing him when I was in Palma, and he was in Alicante their first year from Le Plata, and I was
Mhm.
like, wow, this kid, he's strong, he's young, he can move. And I always thought then, that year when I was in Palma, like, man, this guy, like, he might have some potential, and obviously now he's playing in the
He's
ACB. So,
playing amazing. Yeah.
yeah, so
Mhm.
those two players in Lev, I would say, were really good defenders, and then Robert Seta and Elgin Cook,
Mhm.
and then Cameron Taylor as well. Those three were really good defenders in the ACB that I remember. But
No.
man, if I had Cristiano Felicio screaming for me, it would have been a lot different. I'll tell you that, boy. It would be a lot different. I'll tell you that.
I must say, for us, was a little bit heartbreaking when you left because the potential of that duo with Thomason that we saw, especially the game in Seville, where you were getting more space. Like it was crazy. You hit a 3 point. I think the one that made us go up to 9 or so, like center 3 point in the last quarter against Betis. Like he was open. Like we were expecting a little to see a little bit more of that. Like we were hoping. We obviously wish you the best. It's been a completely different season. Like last year you started super strong. Then the 10-game strike losing. This year has been a little bit more balanced. We started not that well. Then now we have a really good run. From the distance, how are you seeing the team? Are you following Granada? How do you see the team? We go in an hour to the stadium to play a critical game and a massive game for us. How do you see the team and what's your expectation?
Man, they've been playing. The ACB is so hard, man. I think the normal person or the normal fan does not understand. To win one game in the ACB is just so much work. The preparation into it, and then that moment, man. Those are the best players in Europe. So I think obviously they started off bad, but the one thing I like about Pablo is that he doesn't get caught up into results. You hear him in the press
Yeah,
conferences, and it's about it's about how you play. That's most important. So even when they didn't win games, they play well, and obviously you got to defend better and things of that nature to win in the ACB. But I never thought like they weren't gonna be good. Like you see the comments and you just see how people are just so negative. But I'm glad they had this last month and a half winning good games, put themselves in a good position to go for the, second half of the season. I'm liking the new systems. I'm liking, how they incorporated the new players, like, and obviously seeing Felicio 100% is special, and obviously seeing Joe, and obviously, I mean, through all of that, what Luis Costa is doing this year,
it's insane.
with the preseason, because people don't know. Last year he didn't have a preseason. Like his wrist, he didn't play like almost the last month, 5 weeks of the preseason. So you know, for him to have the preseason and to play how he's been playing, and now he's healthy again, he's just been incredible, man. Like unbelievable. Just the confidence. I just love the confidence he possesses right now. And me and him have had similar, like critical moments in our career. He just said it. Everybody knows how he almost quit. He went to Barcelona B, but I think obviously they gotta the defense, you gotta get it under 80 points. Obviously, I mean that's very hard in the ACB. But and then just win the games in at home. You got to win them, and you can beat anyone. Obviously, how they've competed this year with Barcelona, won at Valencia. Anybody can win. It's just like Leboro. It's like any league. Anybody can win. We are professional athletes. You just got to do it. And I think they got a good team, man. They got a lot of killers this year. I think last year we didn't have as many killers that they have this year. They have a lot more balance in that aspect. Um, and then obviously signing that the French guard has
Yeah,
been great to see. He's been really good to he brings the pace to the game where he can slow it down. He can speed it up. He's like an extension of the head coach, on the court. So he helps, and then you just everybody gotta do what they gotta do, and everybody has their role, and you just gotta do that to 100%. But it's hard to win in the ACB, man. I tell you, boy, it's hard. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing, and that's what makes what we did last year, those last three games, just like you know,
unprecedented. No,
It's unbelievable. So I wish them the best. I've been following them when I can. Obviously sometimes it's 4 a.m. I'm not watching that. It's 4 a.m. I
Mhm.
gotta get my rest. But I've been following them. I've been following them, and I will follow them because Oscar and Pablo and everybody in that organization. You feel like it's family. So that feeling don't just leave. It stays with you, and they treat it like a family. So I wish them always the best. And I think with the team they have right now, obviously, they got Kramer, they got Juan Cheatham. They got
Cheetah.
players that are, so obviously Joe Felicio, Luis. But role players, obviously I think the bench can get better, play better, but that's with anything, But they got a better team than we had last year. It's just like, winning doesn't matter if you're a better team or not. So they got to improve, try to keep it under 80 points, and I think they'll reach their objectives, but it's obviously defense from what I've seen from afar, and that's hard to say because the
Yeah.
ACB best players in the world.
For sure you don't remember, Thomas, but the day that you went, the last game of the soccer of the season that you went to ACB, the whole team went to watch that last game that Granada ended going to
Oh
second
yeah, I
division.
remember. I remember.
And you were there with us, and we were talking to you, and you mentioned to me like, hey, because there was a guy dressed in Granada's t-shirt, but it was green, and you asked me, is Betis, and I said no, that's not Betis, that's Granada, and then you told me like, oh, but being in Betis was great, but Granada is la polla. You told me literal words in Spanish.
Sí, Granada es la polla, es la
So
polla.
for those people who are in Spain and maybe they
Mhm.
don't speak Spanish, they don't
Mhm.
speak English, sorry, we would like you to send like a last message to them, like from Japan. What would you like to tell the Spanish fans with in a little bit of Spanish?
Pues, no lo sé, es difícil, pero echo de menos de Granada y espero que la temporada sigue así y el club y la afición sigue creyendo y ya está. Mis tres años en Granada fue increíble y no tienen nada mal de decir. Solo gracias por ayudarme y apoyarme todos los días y el equipo también y espero que todo vaya bien la segunda vuelta y
Mhm.
yo siempre Granada, mi ciudad en España es Granada y
Mhm.
no, ah, me muero de ganas de volver un día para ver la gente y disfrutar Granada y Andalucía
Mhm.
ah, día en el futuro, no lo sé, pero ah, echo de menos de Granada muchísimo, muchísimo.
Thank you,
Amazing.
Thomas. Thank you, Thomas.
Amazing.
I hope to dream like a U.S. fashion memorial, like one day in the halftime to the team that brought us to ACB. So I hope that the club goes in that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
direction, and in few years you guys can make it there. That we can cheer for you and thank you for all what you did. Thank you very much for bringing that competitive spirit to the team and bringing us back to ACB for people like me that were born in an ACB city and Granada seen like a basketball city. We really were heartbroken when 15 years ago the team disappeared. So thank you for being an instrumental part of this huge success that Fundación CB Granada has been to the city. And we wish you all the best in your new adventure in Japan. And yeah, all the best and thank you for spending an hour with us. Huh?
All right,
Yes.
no problem, man. I appreciate y'all having me. Oh, my fault. Sorry.
No, it was an incredible pleasure to talk with you, spend your time with us. it was amazing. For us, it's like a dream because we were viewing you playing in the Palacio during several years, and right now we are talking with you. So it's an amazing moment for us.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all for having me. It was fun to talk about the journey. You know, the journey is a reward. So, man, I'm thankful for all the people in Granada that made that such an amazing 3 years. You know, without y'all, it wouldn't be possible. So I'm very appreciative, and I'm thankful that y'all reached out to me and we could do an interview like this. So thank you very much to you
Thank you.
too, and I'll be watching. I'll be following you guys.
Likewise. And if we will have known that you had such a great Spanish, we will have done it in Spanish from the beginning. So.
Ahora, tranquilo. No
Thank you,
hablo
Thomas.
mucho español. Español. Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Take care and good luck with your season.
Bye.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank y'all.
Thank
See
you.
y'all.
See you. Bye.
See you.